Hello and welcome. I'm Carol DeChaine, your intuitive spiritual guide for practical matters and Marconics multidimensional energy light worker, teacher, and practitioner. Today and this whole month, I've been talking about heart-centered businesses and how you can make them work, what they are, and some extra kind of credit help to help you love what you're doing and stay focused on what you're doing. Now, this is a big one because networking is not always our favorite thing to do. Some of us are a little shy and we don't want to go out there. We don't mind talking to people, maybe, but to advertise ourselves makes us a little uncomfortable. So, couple of things. First, you might be able to network in places where you already are. So, even if you just barely mention, oh, yeah, blah, 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 I have this kind of business too. Then, like with me, I'm in Toastmasters. So when I give speeches, I might mention my coaching business or my intuitiveness or psychic or whatever word I want to use. Or I might use something about I actually gave a speech on Marconics. So people kind of sort of understand what it is now, the ones that were there then, at least when I did that. Or energy work in general and what energy is. So I kind of mention that I'm what it is in the middle of my speeches. And I don't make it like an advertisement, I make it just informational. That is really helpful if you don't feel comfortable. Of course, you have to be willing to get out and make a public speech there, but that's one kind of place you can do it. You can mention it when you're chatting with friends or in your Facebook post without actually advertising. You can say, oh, I have this great thing. Oh, it's just wonderful. It's amazing. I've just tried it. And then people say, well, what is it? Blah, blah, blah. And you can say, oh, yeah, I liked it so much. I actually became a distributor. But, oh, man, if you want to know more about it, just let me know. Or maybe don't even mention that until you've said enough about it and built it up in their heads. And so they know more about what's going on. But the other thing you can do is nowadays, a lot of stuff is by Zoom. So it's not as intimidating as being in person. A lot of times you just sit there and you listen. When you're going to a Chamber of Commerce meeting or you're going to, you can't really mix the way you could before, where you all kind of chat amongst themselves and meander around and hand out business cards. And you can't do that as much. But a lot of times on Zoom, you can put your information in the chat. So it's not as obvious. People can save the chat after everybody puts their stuff in. So everybody knows who everybody is and you can look at it later. But also, sometimes they send people off one-on-ones or two to three together or four or five. So they're in smaller groups and you go to those Zoom rooms, the secondary rooms out there, so that you have a chance to chat with a smaller group. Let me say this, and I've learned this fairly early on, that when you're in a networking group and you're talking, ask people about their stuff. Don't start with saying, I do this, especially if you're uncomfortable. Ask them questions about, oh, what do you do? Oh, that's fascinating. Oh, tell me more about that. And I end up being a little bit like my life coach self because I want to know more about the person. I'm curious. So I ask questions. I'm not just ready to jump in and tell them, oh, I do that too. Oh, I'm a life coach. Oh, I do this. Because then you feel pushy. So the more that you can ask people about what they're doing without taking all the time up, then you move to the next person. Oh, what do you do? Oh, and then you find out. And then at some point, they go, oh, tell me about you. What do you do? And they're going to remember you because you listened to them. You didn't push your stuff on them. And it feels better somehow to be there for the other people, to say, oh, let me learn who you are. Oh, and I do this for my business. Maybe we could get together and we could exchange whatever because you want to see what you can do for them to make their business better, which is the opposite of what most people go into networking for. But if you're in a heart-centered business, you don't want to go in and push yourself. It feels awkward. So many people go, oh, well, that's the part I hate. Social media, but mostly networking. Oh my God, getting out there and explaining what you do and having that elevator speech feels so fake. So you need to keep practicing it, keep rewriting it until you can get it done. This is what I do. This is how I can help you. I'm looking for people that are like this or that do that or whatever it may be. I'm looking for people that want to rise above their fear frequency and really make their best life for themselves. People go, that's what you want to do? Wow. I want to do, can I join? I want to have my best life. How do I get from here to there? That's what I want to help people do. Because when I say something weird like I'm a spiritual guide for practical matters, they go, what is that exactly? But it kind of explains what it is because I want to go at things from a deeper or higher or however you want to look at perspective at looking at why things are happening that we don't like and then shifting it so that we have our best life. But we look at it in a practical, let's get it done sort of way because I've been in legal field for years and that's what I have to do there. So how do I make this work in a very spiritual way? So that's why I call myself a spiritual guide for practical matters. It explains so much without me even having to say more than that. I can say I'm a certified spiritual coach and a life coach, and because I'm certified in both, and I'm also blah, 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 blah. I mean, I'm also a Marconic multidimensional energy practitioner. I mean, I can say all that stuff, and people go, glaze. They don't get it. So you need to make it succinct. And then when they ask questions, you can get into more depth if they do. But you want to be remembered for whatever reason. So some people wear loud clothes so that they can be remembered rather than going into the woodwork, big earrings or bright, shiny clothes, something that makes people remember. Who is that person? That's the one who really listened to me. I liked her. What did she do again? Oh, she was that spiritual thing. Spiritual guide. Huh. I got to ask her what that is. I think I want to talk to her. Because that way people, they feel listened to. They're going to remember you. Because don't you remember those friends that really listen from their heart? And if you are indeed a heart-centered business person, go into your heart when you get there. Be there and connect at that level or at the higher level, however you want to look at it, to be able to connect deeply with each person you meet is a true gift. And if you get that chance to actually be one-on-one, say, oh, that's so fascinating. Oh, tell me more. Oh, well, what kind of clients are you looking for in case I have somebody interested? Oh, really? Oh, well, where do you work? Out of your home or do you have a separate? I mean, whatever you can think of that feels right. Don't just stand there and go, oh, can I tell you about Mina? Because really that's what everybody's there for, and you know that. But you also want to make connections because I found when I make a deep connection, then I can find, if I have a client who I go, oh, would you like to talk to somebody who does blah, blah, and blah? Because I know somebody who does that. I have a lot of connections. And they'll go, yeah. So I'll give them the connection. They'll call the person, give them my name that they recommended them from wherever, the Toastmasters or wherever they know me from. Then they'll go, oh, I know her from that. And then they'll go ahead and they'll think twice when they go, oh, I wonder if this person could use them. Or sometimes they call me themselves and they go, I was thinking about you. I'm really interested in this thing. Can you tell me more about what you do here? Can we have coffee? Can we chat? And then if I've given them a client, I've sent somebody off, they're more likely to turn it around and give me a client. So the whole thing works so well if you play the game right. But you're playing the game from a heart space. You're not playing it from, I want clients. I want customers. I want them. And that's fine. People do that. But especially in a holistic chamber of commerce, which I do recommend if you're this type of practitioner like I am, where you're more in the spiritual vein and the heart-centered space, and you're holistic of any way, shape, or form, even people who are social media experts but like to help heart-centered businesses will go to holistic chamber of commerce meetings. So you want to be able to really connect and really feel that at a network, even though it's just for a few moments. The more you can be authentic with what you care about and curious about them, the less nervous you're going to be about you. But in the meantime, practice. Find what you are, what you do, get it down to that elevator speech, know the less than 30 seconds what you can say, a minute what you can say, and then the most important highlights when they ask you questions that you want to say. So it doesn't take all that long. Write it down, memorize it. I mean, whatever still feels right. Because I still say I'm an intuitive, a spiritual guide for practical matters, and a Marconic multidimensional ascension energy practitioner and teacher. Those are long-winded things, but if I got 30 seconds, that's what I say. And I might also add that I do energy space clearing, but that gets to be too much. And even those three are kind of long because they all have long words attached. So if they say, oh, if I have a minute, I'll say, I work with people who want to have their best life, but they need to move through a change or they want to get beyond the fear that's holding them back. That's it. That's like the minute then. Well, maybe 30, 45 seconds with that. I don't want to take the whole minute in case they have questions. And sometimes I'll say a little more and I'll mention the podcast and then I'm looking for, especially in holistic chamber groups, I'll say I have a podcast and I'm always looking for guests if they would be interested in coming on. It's called Living Your Limitless Life. And if you'd like to be a guest on that, please let me know. And sometimes I'll see like 5 hands go up and I'll say, okay, can you message me privately so I can make sure I have your name and your phone number and I'll contact you. That's always helpful. These are things that you can do for yourself. Make sure that you are more curious about them than about sharing your stuff so that you can feel like you're listening to them, like you're somebody that they would care to talk to later. And make sure you take notes. If you're interested in the person, write it on the back of their card if you're in person. Write notes while you're on a Zoom call of who was there. If they share their chat in the chat, all their information, write notes about who they are, what they do, and then print the chat out or save the chat and add to it who these people are. So you can go back and contact them again later if you want. But most importantly, practice what you want to say, because then it'll come like second nature and you won't feel like you're pushing yourself or you're trying to make yourself this big person on campus, so to speak, where I do this and I do that and I'm the best ever. Well, yeah, you may be, but you might come off in a way you don't want to come off. So find the right words ahead of time. That fear does crazy things to us. Public speaking is one of the number one fears. Yeah, I've read this, and some people would rather be the dead person than the one giving the eulogy. Okay, I'd rather be giving the eulogy because I've learned how to do that, but I understand what they mean by that. Because speaking in public can be an incredibly scary thing. And we come off uncomfortable, weird. I mean, the aura that we want to put out there, or what energy or whatever you want to call it, so that people not want to talk to you. They want to have you as someone they work with. It comes off strange if you're nervous and scared and you haven't talked much to people. So practice. And after you get your elevator speech together, or your short, this is what I do, versus a little bit longer, this is what I do, ask your friends and your relatives to listen and say, can I just say this for 30 seconds? Tell me what you think. Tell me if it seems natural. I want to practice it just so I get used to saying it in front of people. And they'll go, oh, 30 seconds? Be my guest. And they might go, yeah, that was kind of weird. Well, can you? And you might say, well, do you have any suggestions? Something I can shift maybe to make it more interesting sounding without sounding like think I'm fabulous. Um, maybe you sell something and you want to mention one thing you sell in that 1 minute. You go, oh, I represent this group, and the thing I'm most excited about is this, because I know I do pain relief cream for myself, and sometimes I'll mention it just because I occasionally will do like a holistic health fair, and I'll have that because as a spiritual coach, I don't really have anything to sell, so I'll bring that in just because I use it on my knees and I know how well it works. So that I might mention in passing, but it's not like my number one thing. So I have enough other stuff I do. I don't really do that very much, but I might, if it's a longer session, I might mention something. Oh yeah, I do that too if somebody else does it. But my is called this because it works so well for me. So if you want more information, just let me know. Or whatever. Just know that you don't have to be scared out of your mind to do a networking event. You might be there, but it doesn't mean you can't do a good job. Know that this is something everybody faces at one point or another. Either they're really good at it and they love it because they want to talk to people and they're excited about what they do, which is a way you can look at it. Or they look at the other people and they're excited about what the other person does. And they're ready to talk about their own stuff too, but they're more into, oh, what do you do? Oh, that's so exciting. Tell me more about your business. Well, let me tell you about mine. Or they'll say, well, what about yours? If they're interested at all. And give and take, but mostly give by listening. And then you can let them know what you do as well with your quick response. And you can do your little elevator speech. And if they say, oh, tell me more, then you can be ready to move forward and tell them more and get excited about it. Because this is your baby. This is your heart-centered business that you want to tell people about. But just try not to take up all the time for yourself because you're so excited. Allow the other person to talk first if you can. Unless they say, what do you do right away? And you're going, oh, okay. And then you say a little bit, and if they keep asking you questions, then they're the one that you'll remember because they're asking questions about your business. I hope this has been of assistance. This whole month on heart-centered businesses is something that it could be a career that you already have. It could also be an entrepreneur sorts of thing where you have your own business like I do with life coaching, well, spiritual guide for practical matters. It could be anything that your heart desires. And you may not need to go about and do things, but I know that lawyers and everybody else do network because they want clients. So it doesn't have to be that you're on your own. It could be that you have a particular business that you're part of, that you're a doctor and you want to go to conventions for that and get well known so that people go, good reputation, love that doctor. It could be anything. Just know that even if you're shy, if you care about other people and about what they do, you can network, and it can be a little less painful if you look at it that way. Until next week, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Carol DeChaine, and I have not only a podcast called Living Your Limitless Life, which you can find on all the different podcast channels, but I also will put a link below the video so that you can go directly to the hosting site and you can listen to all the different ones you like. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like what you hear. You're going to find the two come out a week, one on the Joy Corner, which is I am affirmations for the week, and Wednesdays are these types of videos on all different sorts of things to help make your life more joyful. And of course, to find out more about me and Marconics multidimensional energy and life coaching, you can go to my website at connect2joy.com. It's connect the number 2 joy.com, and that also link will be below this video. Until next week, please know that you are already enough to have that joyful, limitless life that you desire.